Oh, my name's Fox. I'm with Fox. I'm sure I have it, and I don't know where the hell it is. But I have Zeus and Hera. But I don't know where the hell it is. I'm pretty sure I have other ones too. Maybe they're still in a package somewhere. I don't know. But I got Aphrodite here, Athena, Poseidon, and Hephaestus. I think I have Persephone and Hades too. I need to figure out where the hell it is. Everything's still packed away. It's probably like in one of those boxes. But I love the Greek gods. I love that shit. I've also learned to love the Norse gods too. Go watch my stream of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But like, yeah, I always kind of like that stuff. Like, mind you, when I watched Hercules, I will say this right now, Hercules wasn't my favorite Disney cartoon, but it was a decent one. And then, or the movie, I mean, I remember wanting to watch the cartoon, but I didn't know where to watch it, I think, at the time, or I don't know at the time when that was really coming out or not. I did catch it later on when it was on Disney, like, was it XD? I think. No. But, in either case, I love that stuff. The first Blood of Zeus, I ain't gonna lie, I forgot a lot of it, and it's funny, and I'll get more into it. But, I forgot a lot of it, but one thing I did remember is, if you know Star Wars, you know what season 1 of that is. Literally everything. And, down to an old man who's always been kind of a friend of the family, who knows about his dad, and gives him a mysterious blue glowing sword, that he then goes and, there's this evil dark entity with a secret connection to the hero, and he's a dark he uses evil shit, and he comes in, just takes over, destroys shit, and we find out there's a blood relation. It's his brother. In this case, it's his brother instead of his father. The old man who's become his mentor is actually his actual dad, Zeus, instead of it being Zeus is the evil one. And then you have things like, literally like a Lando Calrissian part where it's like, we made a deal with this guy and all this, and like if you've seen Star Wars, you know, if you've seen the first of the original trilogy, you know what happens, kinda like ain't gonna lie, like that one. And so season 2, I didn't know what exactly to expect. So, and we'll get into it. Let's first watch the trailer, then we'll get into it.
While death destroys some of us, the idea of it saves us all. We will mourn Zeus and the fallen, and merit will decide the next ruler of the heavens.
That's Gaia. That's a copyright song.
Save your brother.
Gaia told me to save Seraphim. She speaks to me in my dream.
Seraphim is such a badass in this season. Like, holy shit, I love him.
We are the dead. This is our hell.
Don't you want to be free, once and for all? That's what I'm offering you.
Why should I trust you?
Because those that ruined your life, ruined mine.
We'll undo the injustices we've suffered and take our rightful place atop the throne.
Only the strong can fight this war.
I gotta get this song. Holy shit.
All of this ends today, Persephone.
God, Seraphim's such a badass. Ares is a dick.
This is how you show the world who you really are.
Only the strong can fight this war.
Alright. So, pretty much, first off, season 2 pretty much starts off in between, in the middle of the finale of the last season. And I had to literally go back and watch this. I remember everything. So, if I miss slight details, I apologize. But, I remember watching the original one, and I'm like, okay, what I remember is Star Wars at the very end, the I thought Titans, but it's actually the Giants. The Giants attack or whatever. I kind of forgot that a little bit, but I remember Zeus dies. So mind you, I was like, wait a minute, hold on a second. I remember Zeus dies and Seraphim dies, and he wakes up in the underworld, and Hades is there's like, you work for me now, or some bullshit, and he's like, no, and that's that. I remember that. So then when this started up and the Giants were attacking and Zeus was alive, I'm like, the hell happened? I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be dead. And I'm pretty sure Seraphim's supposed to be dead. And it's just so it shows what happens in between where you kind of see it, or at least you see characters like him. Like, I'm not entirely sure. Whatever these guys are. This guy, he's cool. I like how they wear like the stage masks. But like these guys pop in and they're trying to enter Mount Olympus while the fighting's going on to steal this magical stone. Zeus tells Hephaestus, his sister, to take the stone and run. And pretty much they try to run. Whenever she touches the stone, it seems to supercharge her powers, immediately telling us, okay, whatever god wields this stone has their powers extremely juiced. Whole fight happens. Hephaestus is able to escape and takes it to Gaia, who's this big lady, who is the grandmother of Zeus and the original gods, and I think the mother of the Titans, if I'm remembering correctly. Takes the stone, hides it away in the hidden realm. We don't know where the hell that is. And then from there, it's the mourning of Zeus, people mourning for him. And, well, actually, hold on. The reason why those shadow guys were there is because they actually work for Hades. And the reason why Hades wants the stone, and the reason why a lot of this is happening, is because of the mythology of Hades and Persephone, where pretty much every 6 months, Persephone has to leave the underworld and stay with her mother, because her mother's an asshole. Like, this woman creates a biological warfare to get her daughter, to keep her daughter with her. Like, she's insane. Demeter. So, and pretty much, and Hades can't, and the thing is, my first thought was like, okay, I get it, Persephone has to go up back to the overworld, because the whole thing is that if winter happens, it's because Persephone's in the underworld, and then when it's summer and spring, that's when Persephone returns to the earth, returns to outside the underworld. And again, my first thought process was, okay, why can't just Persephone or Hades and their kids just go to the overworld during that time? Where the hell that day? Why couldn't he go to the overworld during that time? And it turns out there is an actual reason, because if Hades stays out of the underworld for too long, it starts to harm him, which, hey, Zeus, you're kind of a dick. Why would you put that on your brother and put a leash on him? Does Poseidon, if he doesn't stay out of the water long enough, start burning or something too? Come on, man. Or if you walk on Earth long enough, do you burn or shot on fire, the Earth try to eat you? What the hell is this, man? You're kind of an asshole. Or maybe it's the idea that, because Hades is kind of bring up that the underworld seems to corrupt you. I don't know. All I know is Hades, along with Persephone, which with Persephone, they hatch a plan to try to take whatever the hell that stone was. I can't remember what the hell it was called. The magic stone, and try to use that to pretty much have Hades rule, I guess. So that way he could reshape the hierarchy so he can be, he'd live above ground, he'd be strong enough, he could have Persephone with him, and they never have to their family never has to be separate again. Is Also, I guess the kids are stuck down in Hades in the underworld too. I don't know. That's that whole thing, and the whole reason why. And Hades himself also, he pretty much that reason why he says, you're gonna work for me, Seraphim, is because Seraphim, because he has giant blood in him from eating a giant. The giants are the only ones who can actually get into the hidden world, unless I guess unless you're Zeus or invited. And I don't know, should I talk about Seraphim's? Okay, so pretty much, let's do Heron's first. Heron's is legitimately the least... like, it's okay, but Seraphim stole this entire show. Legit. Alright, so pretty much, Heron, he's bummed out. His dad's dead, his mom's dead, and we find out later that he blames himself for all this. He blames himself for pretty much, his dad dying, for his mom dying, for all these deaths. And I'm trying to think. And pretty much he finds out, oh my god, my lifeline is cut, which means I'm gonna die. But because the Fates didn't cut it, someone did. We don't know who yet. Probably Hera, and I'm gonna guess it's Hera. Because my lifeline was cut, I'm gonna die. Like, the Fates say, oh, I'm gonna die randomly. We don't know when. You're gonna die. And usually it's not gonna be well. And pretty much the idea is that they know something is coming. If I'm trying to remember. They know something is coming, the world is out of balance, and that he has to find his sword. He has to find his badass glowing sword that he barely used in the first season. And this season he only gets for the last 2 episodes. But also while that's going on, Zeus leaves him this ring, this Zeus ring with a thunderbolt, which it looks so cheap, but also on the well enough note. Let me look that up real quick. Hold on. It looks kind of, it's not that, but it's a Zeus, it is like a thunderbolt ring. Bolt. Damn, $89? Did it have to read bolt on it? It'd look way cooler if the bolt wasn't there. Lightning bolt ring, trendy. Okay, if you say it's trendy, I think it's stupid that it says bolt on it. Let's see here. Okay. Biocraft. What? God of the sky. What? Jesus Christ, man. But anyway, so yeah, lightning bolt ring, and Heron has to find the adamantite that is from the same. What is it? I can't remember who gave it to him. Hephaestus. Hephaestus gave him a compass that says find a piece of adamantite that came from the same vein as this compass, put it in there, or the same vein as your sword, put it in the compass will lead you to it, that way you can find Talos, where you left it last time, that you stabbed him in the eye with it. Or got stabbed in the eye, whatever. Got stabbed in the eye of it. So, Heron and his 3 friends go back to his hometown, finds out the Hunkadenkaries, if I remember correctly, something like that. No, not the Hunkadenkaries. Whatever the Death Eaters are called. They were eating the living now because Zeus is dead and the world is just going out of control. Really, Heron's story is just seeing how messed up the world is without Zeus. Because we see the Death Eaters just eating people. You see them eating people and living, not dead. And pretty much he has to put them in place while also dealing with that he is now gaining Zeus's lightning powers. Because out of all of Zeus's damn kids, from Perseus to Hercules, none of them have ever gained, or and that's including stuff what is it? Apollo, Ares, I think Ares, yeah. Ares, Apollo, Ares, Hermes, all these gods. None of them got his lightning powers. Alright, then again, in the mythology, Zeus doesn't have lightning powers. In mythology, his lightning bolts are his master bolt, is what lets him create lightning and all this stuff, and then eventually he has to have Hephaestus make him a shit ton of lightning bolts to throw at people, because if not, I think he lost the master bolt. I think that was why. So, but whatever. Heron got lightning powers. Heron has lightning powers. Lightning powers are badass. And Heron's pretty much slowly trying to learn how to control his lightning powers, his new god powers, while also, like, trying not to let it take him over, because he says, like, it's so, like, intoxicating using this power. And he uses it to great effects. He's, like, at one point, he does, like, an Iron Man point where the Death Eaters are around him. He's like, everyone get down! He starts shooting lightning everywhere. It's kind of great. And also, like, gives him super speed, a little bit faster speed, like... It's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. Lightning punches, all that stuff. Eventually, they find... I'll get to that thing, because they do find someone who's like, looks like he's dead on the ground, and he's like, who is this one-eyed man who looks human? Takes him to the graveyard, because the man's trying to find someone at the graveyard. And while these guys are trying to find his mother's grave, which is where they find the adamantite, which they then put in the compass to find Talos, the man tells him, like, I'm looking for this girl that I missed that died. I heard she died. She was a priestess, all this stuff. Her name is Gorgon. I'm sure at no point in time in any future seasons will she become a Gorgon or Medusa. I'm sure. Because that's also the thing too. This takes place in a weird, I don't think you could tie any myths to this. This is supposed to be like the true myths, I think, in the sense. Because where would you place this in the timeline? It would have to be like after, I think, everything. Because Zeus never dies. So how the hell is he dead? And also, okay, there are some weirdish things. But we'll get into it. Anyways, they go. They see a green smoke at one point, like, that's weird. The thief guy, he finds out, like, one of his, Hermes tells him, like, as a patron of thieves, your old acquaintance has escaped jail, and he's like, well, shit, I'm leaving. What was his name? Let me see here. Not Thanatos. Kofi, I believe his name was. Yeah, Kofi. Kofi goes, I'm staying because we need to help save the world. Other thief guy leaves complete season. Everyone else, they go, they find Talos. They have a badass fight scene where, like, he's fighting the Amazon, like, ships. I can't remember her name, but the Amazon warrior that's with them. She goes in, tries to grab the sword, falls into the water. Hydra comes up, cuts the heads off. Hydra comes up. Kofi comes in. He's the one that actually pulls the sword out and, like, kills the Hydra. And then the girl takes the sword and stabs, like, the heart of Talos, killing him. I just guess he's just out of whack, too, I guess. I don't know. And pretty much, now they have the sword! Da, 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 da. And that's pretty much it until he then has to I can't remember if he got word of it or something like that lines, where he then has to go to the hidden world, because he has to go there to try to get the stone to stop all this shit from happening. While that's going, and then, like, we'll pick up there. While that's going on, while it's all going on, like, Zeus's soul is, like, in his mask, I guess, and Hermes, like, makes appear, and Zeus kind of talks to him, like, I'm sorry I died, everybody, I'm giving my own eulogy here. Heron, I love you, kid. Here's my ring. Have fun. I'm going to go get judged now. And because they go down there and, like, there's, like, 3 different judges of, like, old kings, which are also, like, Zeus's kids. And they all, like, just have, oh, look at that. That's pretty badass. They all, they judge you, and, like, if you're judged poorly, you go to their version of hell. I don't know if someone could correct me if I'm wrong, because only till recently I find out that giant, like the whole thing with like, oh, they're giants. I thought in the last season, I'm like, oh, why do they call them giants? Just call them titans. Like, what the hell are you just making? And like, turns out, no, they actually do fight giants in Greek mythology. I'm like, okay, never mind. It's the Gigantotartary or something like that story. I don't know. I still gotta look more into that. But anyways, Zeus goes there. He meets up with Heron's mom, says that he's sorry for all this, and gets judged poorly, and goes, yeah, you're going to Tartarus. And and Hades like, this is what you deserve, whatever. Because Hades also knows that Hera, when they're choosing like which of the three would rule which spot, she made it to where Zeus would get the sky and be the ruler of everything pretty much. And apparently Zeus knew this, but whatever. But that's whatever at this point. It's kind of looks like it would be a Zeus dice. But while that's going on, before all this, we have the badass Seraphim who goes to hell in Hades. Hades tells him, look, work for me, and you'll have a great life down here, or you'll have this stuff. And Seraph pretty much goes, go fuck yourself. I'm not like, I love this man. This man is a badass. He just straight goes, no, I don't give a shit if I go to hell. I don't give a shit if I'm tormented forever. I don't give a shit what happens to me. Because I will not let you control my life. I will not let the gods control my life or who I am. My life, afterlife, whatever. I will not let the gods do this. He is a rebel through and through. And the cool thing is, because obviously Seraphim, assuming, I don't know, I could be wrong. Seraphim is I don't think something that's necessarily a Greek thing. Maybe the word Seraphim actually does come from Greek, actually, or Latin, I guess. Because what I know Seraphim from, let me see. Seraphim are, because if you look up Seraphim, they are pretty much they are the angels that Lucifer was. They're the angels that sit beside God. The ones that, that worship and praise God and are the highest and strongest angels there are. They say if you look upon Seraphim, you will just die. Because you'll just be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Dead. That being said, again, Seraphims are tied to things like the devil, who was a rebel against God. And then there's the thing too is there's so many analogies to other people or characters that win against gods. Like at one point, because again, when Seraphim doesn't take Hades up on the offer, and Hades tells him repent, like this when he goes and because they go to the kings. And the king's always like, okay, this, and this. How do you plead? And Seraphim pretty much goes, look here, he's like, look here, you three shits. I know exactly who all of you are. Let me see, what was it? King Minos, the guy who made the Minotaur. King Phanatomus, I'm not sure who that one is, I gotta look that one up. King Asius, who Zeus made ants into men for him to rule. He's like, I know who all of you are. You're all assholes. And he also, kills a few guards before he eventually gets locked up. And they're like, you're gonna be in the worst pit of shit, hell forever. And, he goes to, the part of, I'm just gonna call it hell. The worst part of hell, where it's you see Sisyphus rolling his stone up the goddamn thing. You see, Prometheus with his liver getting ripped out by an eagle daily. You have this other guy, which I can't remember exactly what it is, where he's in the water and he's reaching up for an apple. I remember it. I know it's a thing, but I just can't remember which one it was. But he's reaching up for an apple, but he can never reach it. And then, here's how they did Seraphim. Because here's the thing, if you know a different type of mythology, you'll know what this kind of reference, at least I assume this is what it's referencing. Because he is tied to a rock, under a tree, where there is a snake looking down at him and dripping poison into his eyes. if you don't know what that is, that's Norse mythology. And not only Norse mythology, that is the Norse mythology for Loki, the one who eventually kills all the gods, or at least starts off the thing that will kill all the gods. Like, they legit gave him another connection to another character that is known for starting the end of the world and killing off, like, or starting to kill off all the gods, whose offspring will kill off gods. And it doesn't end there, the parallels they give him. Because later on, like, Hades tries to convince Seraphim. And Seraphim, like, is like, I don't give a shit. There's getting poison dropped in my eyes. That's still better than dealing with your shit. I am not letting you do anything to me. I do not give a shit. What you say, what you do, what you try to offer me. Nothing. Nothing that you can do to me will ever make me help you. Then, Hades brings up, hey, so we got your girlfriend? What? Which, I love this too, because here's the thing, like, Seraphim, I think in the first one, he is pretty much like, I'm just gonna kill people because fuck the gods. And he just goes and, you know, murders the shit out of everyone, including, like, his own birth mother, all for revenge. And he's pretty much like, yeah, he's just irredeemable at this point. This season makes him a hero. Like, a straight-ass hero. Because, in a good way, too, like, when he finds out that his girlfriend, who was a priestess named Gorgon, and I'm like, she's gonna become a Gorgon. Yeah, okay, I get you. She's locked outside of the underworld because she couldn't pay the toll because she didn't die with coins on her eyes. So she's just locked out there with the rest of the souls that couldn't get in. And I just eternally tormented. Seraphim, then at that point, he's like, okay, here's the deal. You let her into the underworld so that way she doesn't suffer. She can live in Elysium or wherever, live happy life. But you have to make sure she drinks from the river Styx, or I believe it was, or whichever river it was. In I think the Disney one, it's the river Styx. It's like, yeah. But you have her drink from the river so she forgets all about me. She forgets all her pain, all her suffering. She is happy. And he goes, deal. And brings him back to life. Gives him the ability to switch between human. Also, he cleans up his trident, his bident. Also, Hades just has a shit ton of different bidents, which I'm like, that kind of lessens the bident a little bit, but whatever. Gives Seraphim the ability where he can switch from his human half and then turn into his Seraphim giant half, his Seraphim form. Which, when he finally gets out of the underworld, Hades is following with, like, this crotchety old owl, and which I gotta look that up. Does Hades have a connection with owls? Because that's more of an Athena thing. And later on, we do see Athena with her owl. But I was like, all right. Now that I'm thinking about it, is this no, it has to be Athena because you see her owl in the background a little bit. I don't know if you can actually hear, but yeah, it's Athena. But he pretty much. This owl gets killed like 3 or 4 times, which is kind of funny, but also like, stop fucking with the owl! But Seraphim kills the owl and goes, I have shit I have to do before I deal with your shit. Which he then goes to like this troll that like would give you a riddle, and if you solve the riddle, you can cross the gorge. And if you didn't, he would eat you. Turns out, it didn't matter if you win the riddle or not. You would get eaten, which Seraphim's girlfriend found out after, like, Seraphim said, oh, I'm going to come back. I'm going to, we're going to run away together. Turns out that exact same day was the day that he found he was chased down by these guys, and by the guys who killed his parents and all that, his family and stuff like that, and eventually led him to the giants, which then he ate from the flesh, which apparently Hades is the one that told him. There's a lot of retconning in this. Like, I ain't gonna lie, Because I definitely feel like I'm watching the show and I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's no goddamn way Hades was... I don't know, maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's no damn way Hades was the one that told him, like, oh, eat of my flesh. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be just a giant that told him. But we're going with the idea, oh no, Hades was the one that told him. He was watching out for him this whole time. It's like, really? Let me see. Okay, yeah, anyways. So Seraphim, he fights, his girlfriend got eaten by a troll. So Seraphim murders the shit out of this guy, but he takes some heavy damage. He falls off his chimera, falls to the ground. That's when Heron finds Seraphim as a human, and they're like, oh, what's your name? And Seraphim goes, my name is Icarus. And I'm like, oh, you know, the guy who flew too close to the sun and then fell to earth like a fallen angel? You know, Icarus. And I'm like, by God, by the gods. So, Seraphim, pretty much after he sees his mother's grave, and then like later on, Heron on him finding, you know, his girlfriend's grave, like they give each other advice about like he says like there's nothing you could do, there's nothing you could have done. It's not your fault that your mom died. And this guy's like, and Heron's like, how do you know that? And he's like, oh, lucky guess. Like, okay. Also, while this is going on, Persephone has to be on the surface for these 6 months right now with Demeter. And when Hades does eventually come up there, Demeter's like, she's with me right now, not you. You get your 6 months, I get mine. I'm like, off, Demeter. Demeter, screw you. She even destroys Hades' tree at one point that like Persephone made that looked like him and her like hugging. And I'm like, you ass. Also, while all this is going on, mind you, like when there was like the Zeus funeral, Hera pops up, and rightfully so. Everyone's saying, get the f out. We don't care. You're the reason he's dead. You're the reason all this is happening. F you. And I think it was Gaia who said, no, she can live and stay here and more. And I'm like, no! Kill her! And it's funny because later on, okay, we'll get to that. But Seraphim pretty much gets out of there. He goes to like the gateway to this other world where these guards that protected Zeus when he was a baby and grew him up, whatever. They're there. They figured out a way to slip the mind forgetting stuff into the water. They drink it using a sunbeam that Hades made to make it hot in the cave, so they have to drink it. And they all forget who they are, kind of. Seraphim goes up to them and goes, hey, I need in here. You guys are the guys who protect Zeus, and you have to keep doing that to protect this area. I'm gonna go in there. And they say, well, what's your name? My name is Nobody. Nobody. No. I fucked that up. Buddy. Okay, so if you don't get that one. Go listen to the epic soundtrack. Let me see, actually. Yeah, done by Jorge Rivera Haranas, where he does the epic theme song, and it's pretty freaking good. Epic song. Is it? I think it's the Poly. Is it this one? Which one is it?
Captain! You don't have much in his one.
No. But, I can't remember which one it is. But anyways, it's based off of the Odyssey. So they then, and pretty much the way, if you don't know how the Odyssey works, at least the Cyclops part, to escape where the Cyclops has trapped everyone, he tells the Cyclops, Odysseus, a man who is very smart and strategic and all this stuff, he tells the Cyclops, my name is Nobody. And then when, eventually when they gouge out the Cyclops' eye after he kills some of his men and like all this stuff because they stole and killed some of his sheep to eat, when other Cyclops come to the door and they go, hey, Polyphemus, you okay? I heard you yelling. And he's like, And Polyphemus goes, "Oh my God, nobody stabbed me in the eye!" And they're like, "Weird way to say that, but okay, as long as you're okay." He's like, "No, nobody hurt me!" And he's like, "All right, Polyphemus, have a good night, bud." He's drunk. But yeah, so they, but there's the thing too. They're then tying Seraphim then to Odysseus now. Who Odysseus is someone all of the all of the gods. A lot of the gods fucking hate. Especially not Neptune. What the fuck is his name? Poseidon. Poseidon really hates him. Because Polyphemus and the Cyclops are his kids. And Odysseus, instead of killing the Cyclops, said, "Hey, I'm Odysseus. Learn from your mistakes." And the Cyclops said, "Fuck you, Dad, kill him." And Poseidon couldn't. But it's another guy who defies the gods. Even though he does get a shit ton of help also from the gods. Especially from Athena. But anyways. Odysseus, Odysseus is a badass. But anyway, so yeah, they tie him to They tie him to, and also when Hades to help convince Seraphim, he tells him about how Persephone became bound to the underworld, where against her mother's wishes, went to the underworld and ate a forbidden fruit that then bounded her to death. I mean, I know that's the actual mythology too, that Persephone ate pomegranate seeds and then that bound her to the underworld. But also on that same note, you're telling the guy named Seraphim, named after the angels that, Lucifer was, about a woman who ate a forbidden apple, who ate a forbidden fruit that then brought her death. You literally tied Seraphim to Lucifer, to Loki, to Odysseus, to Icarus. All people who have tried to defy gods. And, I'm like, by God, the first season was okay. I love what they're doing with Seraphim in this, because they're, making him every rebel from the biggest rebel, biggest, Icarus is whatever, but, some of the biggest, rebels that said, "Fuck you" to gods, and it's kind of amazing. He's, so damn, one of my favorite characters. And again, with super form, kind of. He was human, then he turns into his demon form now, but, I'm still sick as hell. And pretty much, Polyphemus, or this guy, he tells the guards, they tell them nobody went in, goes in, and he then has to go through 3 different trials. 3 different trials to get the legendary stone. The first one, if I remember correctly, it's not bravery. What was it? Wisdom. Wisdom, where this face pops up to him. And here's the thing, too, that it's funny, because this glowing godlike goddess face, whatever, comes up to him and he goes, "Look, stop listening to Hades. Listen to me. How about this? You abandon this mission. You're this isn't a good mission. You're going to ruin the world. And I will literally turn back time. And you can live life with your girlfriend. You can go back even further and become the king you were meant to be with that before, this all happened." Legit, ability to change time. And I'm just thinking in my head, because every time there's something like this, it's usually done... It's usually in a way that it's gonna make the world worse. Because, it's Luz no será. If they say, Luz says, if I never went to the Boiling Isles or something like that, or if Luz never went to the Isles or whatever, the Isles would be way worse without her. Belos would survive. Belos would, eventually the draining spell would happen. He'd kill everyone else. Amity would still have green hair and be listening to her mother. Willow would be in the abomination track, hating herself. Gus wouldn't have this other friend and all like there would be a lot wrong. Ida would eventually be corrupted by the Owl Beast and probably eat King. Like, there would be a lot wrong still. Like, the world would be messed up. Or anytime you see the superheroes, whether it be like Spider-Man making a wish, like, I wish I was never a Spider-Man. But then you could just think back like the last 5 episodes of like, do you know how many people you saved? And you're saying, oh my god, the world would be so much better if I wasn't Spider-Man. It's like, no, you dumbass! You literally saved hundreds of people. That's not that's nothing. Seraphim? If he did go with his girlfriend, none of this would happen. Zeus would be alive. Heron's mother would be alive. Probably the worst, quote-unquote worst, case scenario is Heron maybe doesn't become a hero. Because Seraphim doesn't come to power and the world doesn't really necessarily need a hero. Yeah, he's gonna still have, like, you know, the town hating him, which is a kind of thing that happens in this season. But, like, when they go back to the town where the things are being eaten, all that, people are being eaten and stuff. And he's like, he looks at you like, I should kill some of you, but you know what, fine, whatever. Like, just remember, the man who saved your life is the one you guys, like, what you did when he lived among you. And I'm like, alright, what if God was one of us? But, yeah, Seraphim goes like, no God can change the past. No. And again, like, it's the idea, like, the idea of, like, the past can change, like, past change. If the past changed for them, yeah, the world probably would be better. But, whatever. Seraphim goes, no, I know this is wrong. And then the lady turned into a European dragon. I'm like, I'm not going to say that's not a thing, but I'm going to say, like, I don't think that's European dragon was originally part of the Greek mythology. Maybe there is a type of dragon like the Hydra, but I don't think this. But yeah, so classic dragon comes up. Seraphim's able to kill it. Gets through, goes to the second wing where he meets the Sphinx, which is a big-ass buff lady with a back end of a lion and tail, but still big-ass buff lady. And she goes, what do you fear? Open this box and you will see what you fear most. And Seraphim looks at the box, looks at her and goes, I fear nothing. And usually, you know, when they say that, it's like, oh, that's bullshit. And mind you, in my head, I was also thinking like, well, you do fear losing your girlfriend or like failing her. And he opens the box, nothing comes out, and even the Sphinx is like, oh shit, you're right. And Seraphim's like, yeah, I am right. Goes through the doors, and then the Sphinx, like, I guess the walls close up around Seraphim, and he goes, but you do fear failing those who you love. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because again, that's the thing. And it's the reason why I also hate Spider-Man, the Raimi Spider-Man movies. Like, that right there shows why Seraphim is a hero. Or very heroic. And mind you, this is not in the stupid sense of, like, people saying, like, wish. Oh, Magnifico is the hero, actually. And Asha's the bad guy because everyone's happy before. No, shut up. Literally, Seraphim's only fear is, like, failing the woman he loves again. That's the only fear he has. He doesn't want to fail her again. And he's doing all of this for her. Fuck Hades. He doesn't get... Fuck the world. He's literally, he's going through these trials, proving that he could be the god who rules Olympus. Because that's the thing. Whoever goes through trials and gets it, they become Olympus. He does not care. He does not care. He's like, I don't give a shit about any of this. I'm getting the stone. I'm giving it to Hades. I'm getting my girl, like, a spot in heaven, pretty much. Like, I do not give a shit about anything else. I don't care that I'm going to go back to hell after this. I do not care. Like, and that's the thing, like, he is, like, the most heroic character in this entire season, I think. He's really freaking cool. Eventually, Heron catches up, completely doesn't do the first trial because I guess there's only one monster to fight. All right. Finds the Sphinx in the second one, sees that his worst fear is, I guess, blaming himself. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was something along those lines. And then, like, they said, like, oh, your anger is what reason why you didn't pick up the sword in season 1. And if you would have gotten the sword, like, Sphinx shows, like, if you would have gotten the sword, you would have beaten. You would have killed Seraphim. Your mother would be alive. Zeus would be alive. You literally fucked up. And I get why they didn't make him do the first one of, like, oh, you could change time and all that. Because, like, this pretty much does the exact same thing, that story-wise. But anyways, the Sphinx then sends him into the labyrinth. This guy cuts his way through the labyrinth, like, yeah, I don't need to figure this shit out. Cuts through. Seraphim follows right behind. Gaia talks to this guy, which also there's a prophecy. The prophecy. That there is the one. The one that will, I can't remember if it's bring peace to Olympus or become the next ruler, all that, whatever. The chosen one. And Gaia straight says, like, it could either be you or it could be your brother. It's going to be one of the two. I think it should be Seraphim. I honestly do think that. I feel like this season pretty much has made a good case that Seraphim should be the next leader of the gods. Because at one point he even says, I don't want to be a leader of the gods. I think that makes him perfect for it because he doesn't want it. That makes him the better one because the person who wants it probably wants power like Hades. They fight over the stone. The stone eventually gets out because it's tied to the back of an eagle. That's when Hades comes in with the other gods, which the other gods is a soul side thing where Demeter pretty much figures out what Hades is doing, tells him, look, we don't like each other, but how about this? Instead of us fighting each other and fighting over our daughters, so that, why don't we all just live as one big happy family? And the easiest way to do that is to pick up the stone and for you to become the next ruler. Also, I'm gonna cause a little bit of biological warfare where I'm gonna send cordyceps, activate them suckers, and make them, turn people into giant stocks of mushrooms, which then explode and send more spores and create more and more, just killing the earth. And also, it weakens the other it weakens all the other, like, demigods, at least. And I guess if you're human or half human, it affects you. If you're a full god, it does not affect you. All of Zeus's kids are like, well, we think Hera did this. And they're like, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I kind of believe you too. I would kind of believe that too because Hera is the one who kind of fucked everything over. And also, that's the thing too that this show kind of does. Maybe I'm wrong and like Hera is supposed to be the main bad guy in the next season. I think Hera, like, they were trying to make Hera more sympathetic, like, oh, I miss him too. No, stop fighting. Look what I did, and that was bad. You shouldn't do that. And all I mean is, like, kill her. Kill her now. At one point, when there's a big war that happens, it's the underworlds with Thanatos and everyone there fighting against the other Olympian gods. And, like, everyone's fighting for the stone. At one point, Seraphim almost grabs the stone, and like one of the guys are about to attack him, but Heron shoots a lightning and strikes the guy, and looks at Seraphim and is like, yeah, and he's like, yeah, brother. And then later on, like, Heron's supposed to reach it, and Seraphim saves him, and I want to see Seraphim with the stone because I want to see what his giant powers would be amplified. But Heron grabs it, stone, power, lightning shoots everywhere. Hera eventually comes down and goes, what's happening? And Heron's like, I should kill you. I should. By God, I should kill you. But I'm going to live for forgiveness. And don't think forgiveness is weakness, because one guy tries to attack him, he just erases him. At one point, like, Heron's just summoning lightning from the sky and just killing a shit ton of people, which... Go play Infamous. It's really fun, and that's an ability you get at one mission, and then later on, it's like a power you get in the second game. Lightning powers are awesome, especially when you call down lightning from the sky. Is this, don't think this is weakness, and like, everyone, like, we will keep balance. I will rule the skies, Poseidon will rule the earth, will rule water, and Hades, you have to go back to the underworld. And then Hades looks at Persephone, looks at him, and goes, shit. Stab! I'm like, oh shit, okay. And Gaia's like, and then Gaia pops up and goes, no. Takes the stone from Hades, like, no. You, because she saw it, like, oh, my grandkid. And then sees him die, like, no. Like, no, that's it. I'm taking your toys away, and your time on Earth is over. Because turns out the stone, I think, and like all the powers of that, all that came from a Titan that was made. That in mythology, like how I guess it would work. Go watch Osiris Production. She talks about it great. Red does. Blue's also good too. He apparently has a book out now. Gaia apparently, like at some point, Typhon, which if you don't know who Typhon, okay, so in mythology, there's usually the idea of, like, I guess cycles, or something along those lines, where pretty much the Titans were ruling, and then eventually Zeus was the one who usurped the Titan Kronos to their dad, and then made the Olympians the new gods. Well, Typhon, which I don't think is technically a Titan, but he's usually classified as one, but he's like, I guess a new age Titan, whatever. Typhon is pretty much the new cycle of that, and he was destined to kill Zeus and then take over and rule with his people. But in this, he was then sealed away in this one instead of being. I think he just got killed in the original myth. I can't remember, but no one can speak his name, because if you speak his name, you bring him back, and the guy just says, "Yeah, no, the time of Olympus is over. Typhon, get your ass up here." And Typhon is starting to come out of the ground and release, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" While Heron's like, "Well, I'm dying," and that's where that season ends. This season was really good. There are some weird things I will say too, like again, like Zeus dying. Like it turns out, like if this god dies, like they'll still be alive in the underworld, long as people are worshiping him still in his name. So he can still kind of survive and live that way. But also, like, Hades can just bring the dead back to life. So if, like, are they just going by the rule of, well, you know, everyone has to follow the rules? Like, is that kind of the thing? Like, oh, everyone just has to follow the rules. So, yeah, I can't bring Zeus back. No, that'd be bad. Like, I don't know. I don't know how that one kind of works or plays out. Because I'm just thinking, like, yeah, and then, like, also, like, I think Heron could now just go visit his mom in the afterlife now. Like, it kind of undercuts a little bit of, like, the tension I feel for certain things. It's like, yeah, I think Heron could literally just go to the underworld and visit his mom now. Anyways, that's again, weird shit, but whatever. Also, Demeter at one point, like, tells Persephone, oh, the reason for all those mushroom things was Hades. It's his idea. Yep. And Persephone, I don't think, buys that shit for a second. But I do love when, like, Hades, like, when the Olympians are holding Persephone hostage, and Hades, like, throws the Biden, almost hits Athena. Biden comes back, and Persephone jumps up and just catches it and rides back down to her husband. I'm like, by God, I love these two. Hades is, like, one of the only good gods. And it's kind of funny. But, I'm trying to think now. But yeah, so Hades the badass. Just FYI. Also, he's a good dad. Or a good, husband. But, I'm trying to think. But yeah, that's where that's going. I really like this one too, because I feel like, I'm not sure, I can't really remember in the first one, but this one, it really plays around more with all the other gods a little bit. Like, Athena really doesn't do too much, but Hermes is always running around like he's the goddamn Flash, which is great. You have stuff with Demeter, like just controlling, Demeter and Persephone controlling plants and everything like that. Hades, we don't really see too much of, like, what his powers are, other than he can bring Seraphim back and see through the eyes of owls. Him and his men do have teleporting, like, through darkness, which is kind of cool. I'll say that. But when he grabs a stone, like, we don't see, like, darkness surrounding him, so that. So it's like, alright. Like, I wanted to see what his powers upgrade would have been with that stone, but and also there's the whole thing with, like, this guy's other friend. Let me see. This guy, Seraphim changing when he left would fix 99% of all this. Yeah. Also, the whole maze thing that they had to go through was like because the god has to figure out the untangler of mysteries or whatever. Get down. Cerberus makes a quick appearance. 6 months. Persephone. Hades tells Seraphim the story about how his wife eats a forbidden fruit. Heron's mom slaps Zeus. Yeah. Zeus did a Jor-El. Oh yeah, at one point, Heron's trying to find his like the adamantite, but then he finds like in his home, where he grew up, if he puts his ring, like there's a symbol of Zeus there, like it goes down, he goes underground into like this cavern, and there's a hologram of Zeus going, all my knowledge is in here, my son, I am Jor-El. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, all right. Like, whatever, all right, fine. Transformation Seraphim, give the best to the judges. Oh yeah, at one point when Seraphim kills the like tree bender who like is the one who eats people, he tells him like, give my best to the judges. I'm sure the judges were like, God damn it, I thought he was locked up. Also, there's things too, like there's like a multi-armed god. I don't think it was a Hakadonkari, so I don't know if that was like a god of Indian mythology, religious stuff. I don't know. And then at one point, there's a literal angel of seraphim with 6 wings that pops up that comes from the primordial gods. And I'm like, is Gaia... What do you mean primordial gods? Do you mean just Gaia? Or is like God? Like, God there? Is it like they each have their own territory, these different god pantheons? What's going on here? Primordial gods, less of an infection, more of exploding plague. Yeah, I thought they were going to do zombies with the cordyceps, but no. Gorgo, fuck off Hera. Oh yeah, at one point, like, Heron's debating whether or not he should hit Hera with a lightning bolt and kill her. And he's remembering everything bad happened. And Seraphim goes, do it! And the funny thing is, before Seraphim said do it, I said, do it! Pantheon of the Underworld, which is a really cool idea. Failing those you love. The Sphinx. Also, Seraphim got outed as being nobody when they saw his footsteps in the ground walking. Like, Seraphim just like he left footprints, and that's why they're like, he's in there. It's like, really? That's what gives him away? Alright. Don't trust Demeter. But, called in a god from Anatolia, which I think is like Indian, yeah. And there's, a literal angel. I think that's who that was. It might have actually been Nike, but I don't know. But anyways, yeah. This is cool. I like this a lot. This season was really badass. Seraphim is a badass. And also, Kofi is a badass too. Also, at one point, he just starts getting cut up and, like, sliced up. And it's like, really? Can you stop hitting this man? I'm happy that he was the one to pull the sword out, though. But yeah, this is great. I liked it a lot. Seraphim's a badass. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Or check videos that I've done. Links are on my Facebook. There's so much videos. Hopefully enjoy this. This was great. I love this a lot. Hopefully we'll see more, and we will. See you later. But yeah, this is freaking... It makes me want to play Phoenix Rising soon. I'll probably play that soon, though. Because that's... Yeah.